This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. We are going to begin the public hearing of September 5th for the budget for the fiscal year of 2024, opening that to public comment. No, it's for the fiscal year.
Public comment to the agenda for the budget.
Carla Smith. Good evening. Here we are at night 3. It seems like we're yet in another year that this is just being all done last minute. Hurry up and vote. Do amendments later. Not worried about deficits. One thing I was kind of questioning was why when Commissioner Hankins asked on the first night of the work session, should there be a meeting to look at the audit findings before discussing the budget? Mayor Haas agreed, but then it just continued. Why didn't it stop? Why was there not a motion to adjourn the meeting? Why did it continue and then nothing's been discussed about putting the audit findings on the agenda? Then once it was all reviewed, and last night we came to see that there was the 1.1 million deficit, time to make some cuts. A few ideas seemed to be thrown out, and then it was, we'll just cut water and sewer. Interesting. We hear all year how important water and sewer is, and then we're just quick to cut water and sewer. Still nothing in the budget on the Sheriff MOU. I understand it's going to be handled through legislation. Again, that's still going to put it at 2026. Somebody can just take a stand and say Sheriff MOU isn't a priority. At least we could stop inquiring and have some clarity. Cutting the second officer was mentioned, which was an immediate, not even entertained, even though the town seemed to do just fine with one officer, and he was away one of the busiest months of the year. Then today I was surprised to see the updated expenditure this afternoon, and it had decreased, not even really half, so really not worthy. But then I was disappointed to see that the actuals had changed. Not really sure why the actuals changed. Actuals should be actual. They should be accurate. June was the last month to get those numbers, so I'm not sure why they would change overnight. I feel like a lot of times that you guys just want people to be confused and frustrated to the point that they just stop asking and showing up. And I hope you know that there's people in this community that are not going to stop. I feel like you guys could do the right thing tonight by not approving the budget until the audit findings have been discussed and corrected and the deficit has been dissolved. Approving this budget would be a disservice to the town of Ennis taxpayers.
Myron Wamo, Ennis. It's pretty hard to baffle me, but after reading the expose in the Madisonian, it is amusing. There's been well over a year of neglect on the sheriff's MOU, but in a short couple of weeks, a non-contracted attorney has been chosen to draw up a document, SRO, based on state regulations. Even an attorney should recognize that the town charter supersedes the state regs. Top it off, the attorney states that he will not express an opinion due to ethics. Really? I recall not too long ago past, the attorney in question colluded with the IT specialist, aka chief of police, to attain private emails without going through proper protocol to access this information. My inquiry is, who authorized this document? And then how was this non-contracted attorney paid and how much? If the money came out of a taxpayer-funded account without proper authorization, makes one very suspicious of how often does this happen. How many transactions take place without approval of the duly elected town commission, and when will repercussions ensue? The town charter and town codes were composed for a purpose, and that purpose was to control this community's elected officials to abide by standards provided within. Obviously, these standards are not being observed, much less abided by. Thank you.
Brittany Hirsch. Just a short comment. I think if you've ever wondered how the U.S. government has operated in a deficit and been questioning or ashamed of that, this is where it starts. I think it's absolutely disgraceful to consider passing a budget in a deficit in a small community like this. If you ever think, how in the hell does the U.S. budget for the federal and state governments operate in a deficit, and where's our tax money going? I think it would be absolutely disgraceful for it to be passed with a deficit in our small town. Thank you.
Anything from online on the public hearing portion of the budget? Any other last call for public comment on the 2024 fiscal year budget? Right, we will close the public hearing for the fiscal year of the 2024 budget and open the regular meeting. Roll call, Mr. Abernathy.
Here.
Mr. Way?
Here.
Here. Against Ms. Palmerton?
Here.
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
If we could all please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now to public comment on non-agenda items.
Carla Smith. I know I had asked about the alleyway at East Stephens, and now the answer that's being given is it's not in the budget. So the budget's already been spent for this year, or is that just inaccurate information that's being given to residents?
Second call for public comment on non-agenda items. Last call for public comment on non-agenda items. Seeing no other public comment on non-agenda, we'll move to scheduled matters. The first being Resolution 606, a resolution adopting and approving wages for the listed employees of the town of Ennis for fiscal year 2024-2025. Is there public comment on Resolution 606, 2024? Do I have a motion from commission to open discussion?
I move to approve resolution 606-2024.
Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Discussion?
I'd like to know why the PD police officer is to be determined.
It's going to depend on experience. If we have to start through training, it's kind of like we've done the same thing with public works. Do they come with certifications or not? So that wage would have to be approved by the council upon hiring. You'd have to be given experience and then look at other areas and see what they're comparing those experiences to.
So what are you basing the budget off of?
That was just the previous base was off of the same plan as Matt's if we had to start from scratch.
What was that hourly amount?
Starting wage is the same as our original public works, which was 19 an hour.
So, sorry, let me pull my email real quick.
All right, I have a question. So who hires?
So we went through a selection committee or an interview committee on our last interview in which questions were put forth by myself, Officer Moore, and then Charles Feldman. He served in Orange County for, I don't know the years off the top of my head, but he sat through several of their interviews for years. So we pulled in his expertise during the hiring process. Department heads are only hired with approval of council. The other positions under department heads are through department head.
Thank you.
I have a question. Do we know what the IT rate was last?
Will you turn on your mic, please?
I think it is on.
Oh,
Do we happen to know offhand what the IT hourly rate was previous? $39.60.
For last year?
Yes.
Thank you.
further discussion?
What did you say with the new police officer? You said we're going to start him at 19?
It depends on experience. So that's one of those things when a new officer is brought on, a resolution would have to be put before the council for that wage approval.
Dependent on experience, so their starting wage would be 19 if they had 0 experience.
Correct.
And then we would pay for all the training.
And most of these wages are with that, what, 3%? Is that what we were talking about?
And it was the 3% cost of living increase this
Yeah.
year.
And temporary clerk is in this budget that we're to approve next.
I didn't change wages. So, yes. So that would be another
deduction.
Okay. If, so, are, in the budget, if there's a temporary clerk in the budget, are you planning on seeking another part-time?
So temporary clerk turns into deputy clerk eventually, right? Is that how it works?
No, two different. Maria was a temporary,
Okay,
Brenna's a deputy.
okay.
So essentially the temp clerk will go away.
Correct.
Is that another position that would have to come before the
Mhm.
council for approval?
Who made the motion?
Department heads come
Corey did.
to us. Right.
Correct.
And this one has a dollar amount attached to it, so why would it come to the council for approval for, if somebody was hired?
It's for this portion from July until October 1st.
Hey, Corey, could I make a friendly amendment to your motion? To approve it as written, except for temporary clerk, striking temporary clerk off there? Do you accept that?
Sure.
Who seconded it?
I did,
Do you accept that?
yes, sir.
Is there any time or situation where we would need a temporary clerk?
The
you
league
can think
has now started offering some clerk services. It's the same as they are now starting to offer legal services for temporary fill-in. So that is what the option would then be, and it would be under our professional services. So if we needed like a vacation break or something like that, they have, I cannot remember her last name at this moment, but Jody was the clerk in Shoto for almost 30 years, and she is currently there working for the league, and they are looking at hiring a second because there's been such a demand for it. Last year at Summits, I think it was a large portion of the state, the new clerks and deputy clerks were only been there 6 months. There was a large turnover in clerks, especially those in the experienced realm. So that's when the league developed this. And that was part of last year's, if you remember, Corey went and he voted for us. We gave him approval to vote for us for increased membership dues with the league. And that was for both legal services and to start hiring clerks that then they're on staff with them and then they help towns with.
So they'll
trainings
physically
and
come
stuff.
here and fill.
That's the idea. And they keep putting out more and more surveys to see how much more they need for legal and other services as well. So I think the league is desperately trying to fulfill, or doing a very good job of trying to fulfill the needs that they are seeing amongst multiple municipalities.
So do they have a rate set up for that?
It depends on what
temporary
it
clerk?
needs. Well, it won't be as a temporary clerk. It'll have to go under professional services. So I'll bring that before you guys. And
It'd be a contract position.
I think that's what it is.
What did Matt make when he left?
That's my sheet from last
Second
night.
police officer, Matt.
Matt Fisher.
I think Ginger sent that to us.
Yeah, I just worry approving, a rate to be determined.
Yeah.
Maybe, do an amendment and throw a rate range in there from 19 to whatever Matt was making, you know what I mean? Just to dot all the i's and cross all the t's.
Was it on that email?
It might have been.
I guess it's like I would think of it as like the license thing, like in increments of, okay, what is each certification worth? Does that
Sure.
make sense? Like,
Yep.
we said this is that dollar amount for your water license, this is the dollar amount for your sewer license. Do we go, this is the rate base if you're not post certified, and then if you are already, then it's a different rate, and then I don't know. I don't know what all trainings you would bring to the table or extra certifications.
1962.
Do you say like 50 cents per certification or?
I mean, is there a schedule that we
Licensure.
have that says that?
No, we don't.
Just for public
But
works.
I mean, the county's gone through several HR amendments, like HR is coming in and saying, we're not being able to hire at this rate. And then they do a resolution and say, hey, I think we should try at this rate. So I think that's,
Do we need to create something for qualifications or experience?
I would think so.
a long-term look.
That amount for Mr. Fisher, $20.22.
Thank you. So should we put in there from 1939 to 22? Just to keep everything.
Instead of
Or
it
23,
being
I
vacant.
don't know what cops get paid. I mean, if we hire somebody that has a bunch of certificates already, I just don't like the to be determined.
I don't either.
I don't know.
Well, for the deputy clerk, you have 17 an hour starting wage. If you
Yeah.
put
So,
X
right,
amount of
Temporary
dollars starting
clerk is
wage
20.
for the officer.
yeah, you could do 19 starting wage.
Yeah, I think we figured out 1939 years.
I mean, that was about 20,
Was
which
it?
is about what I came up with, just a little bit less than what Ginger said. I mean, could we do that then? It's just put like X amount starting wage, but it's dependent upon experience, right?
Mhm.
Or it could be minimum starting wage. I don't know.
That's why I was suggesting we create a document that has here at this level versus this level versus that level.
I'm sure the county has something, but then you're gonna be looking at insurance benefits added on there. Do we have?
Which we were already
dollars?
looking into, and
So,
I mean, I think you could word it starting wage $20 depending on experience.
I get
weren't
the
you guys just
depending-
saying
I get the-
1939 or 1922 starting wage?
I understand what the mayor is saying about what depends on experience. So your
And
starting
experience.
wage is really based on like, what you bring to the table from
Exactly.
day one. So it's hard to say, I would think it's hard to say starting wage as opposed to like, say, deputy clerk. Okay. Because depending on how much training and experience and, they have, it's, 19 may be, or $20 starting may be perfect, or it may be, way low.
That's what I was thinking, just
So-
put a range in there. I mean, not your $20 to $23 an hour.
Well,
Or not
if-
to exceed 2712, because that's.
I was gonna say, if the
chief's.
police chief is 2712, the police officer probably be something less than that, I would.
I would just say that that's a cautionary thing, because if you did that as an item, I would say you would want to keep things ultimately almost fair, and you would need to look at the whole pay scale. You would say, okay, John's been here for 14 years, and we're going to offer the new guy this, 12 cents less than the guy that's been here 14 years. And Karen, that's been here, I think, like a couple months longer, you're going to offer more than the director that's been here for 14 plus years.
What about putting negotiated depending on experience?
I like that a lot. I like that.
Well, that's kind of what it is already, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's the DVD. So what's the concern with the DVD?
I just,
Is that it's
It's
just,
dependent on experience.
it's not tidy.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
weird.
Yes.
what did we
if
do
you
last
guys like
time?
it, then let's vote for
What
it.
did we do last time? It was on the wage.
There was a wage there last time.
There was.
If I'm being too
Can you just
nitpicky,
put the low end and then if they want a higher rate, it's
By
by
resolution.
resolution?
Yeah, why don't we just put whatever we had last time? Then if there was a wage there last time.
Super interested with these qualifications. These are the qualifications that our current candidate is.
Vicki, were you looking at last time?
Yeah, it was 2022. 2022.
So cap it at 23.
Perfect. No more than 23. If that, we can make a second friendly amendment to your motion to cap that at 23.
Second.
Are you, okay, I want to be sure I'm clear. Are you starting at 2022 or up?
No, up,
Or just up to $23?
up to 23.
So that's the max.
Yep, without come and see us.
But also meeting any minimum wage requirements as
Yeah.
stated by law. Da, 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 da.
Further discussion? Does it have to be 23 or can we make it 22?
We can do whatever you guys want.
What did you read Taco Bell's starting wage was?
25 to 27.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Okay.
23 doesn't seem
Yeah.
as a range that horrible when you can work at Taco Bell for 25 and not, well, maybe still get tased. I don't know.
You get free chalupas, so.
Oh, see, looking at the benefits.
I don't know if that's a benefit.
I'm fine with it. You guys good?
What was the decision?
Up to 23.
All right, so the motion has been made to accept Resolution 606, 2024 with the current amendments of removing the temp clerk at 20 an hour and up to $23 for police officer.
So am I, from tomorrow on, going to do everything she's doing for me now? Is that what I'm hearing?
Her end date is October 1st.
Nice, thanks. Sweet.
We can look at creating a position if that needs to happen, I guess.
But we don't have a full-time position slated and budgeted for right now for that role, correct?
No, correct.
I guess, Eric, I'd ask she's currently doing, the lead
I'll handle it. You guys do it.
stuff, but what else is she doing for you right now? And I guess I need to.
So Marie was doing the background checks for originally finding an bidding platform, which we found, which was Sourcewell. And she presented Eric and I with her findings as to that bidding site so that we didn't get into any of our audit findings. At least it was another double check finding that we met all the bidding requirements through Sourcewell. That was the last action item that she would worked on. From that, next thing that was in line was to start looking at the setting up appraisal and disconnect requirements for our unused property, and thought that we may need to use that for a land swap, and at least we need the appraisal value of it for the purchase of the second well site. And then was making contact with branch managers to start set up meetings for negotiations for the purchase, lease, groveling, however I want to put that, of land for the next well site, not well site, tank site.
This is also helping train.
I mean,
We can go on here.
the way I look at it, we don't have that person in a position right now. We don't have a job description for that. If we need that position, then let's figure a way to make that position Eric's
Well, how about?
person.
How about?
Eric's person.
Eric's
If it's
person.
Part-time. I mean, you can take it as my third guy. For part-time now and the part-time, so you can do that. And we're still two guys.
Mhm.
That's the only thing that I can do to help us out, but she's been a great help. I mean,
And I believe,
We
I
don't
just,
dis-
I mean, if we
disagree, yeah.
need that, then let's figure a way to get you that. But just a
well,
temporary person
For a
that we don't have
For another
a job
3 weeks,
description,
yeah.
a budgeted for,
that's fine.
Well, is there any way, if we were to leave that, is there any way to like put a duration on it or something? I don't know. Or expires on October 1st, or, and put it in like in this resolution that it'll expire or something like that. Because I'm on board with her finishing out her 2 weeks or her notice too, and if it helps you, that's good. So just, I don't know, we don't need to strike it, I guess, but can we leave it as is with an expiration date on there?
I mean, in 2 weeks, but Eric's expressing that he needs
Or for longer.
that person.
I thought she had given notice anyways, and
She
She's
has-
giving notice, so.
That's because of this.
I understand that, but that's also not our.
That's what it is.
I don't know then.
Maybe it's a
Just can't
design
get treated
position
like
then.
that.
Yeah,
You rewrite it in a different way. And maybe then you do a budget amendment where he still has 3 and administrative aid. I don't know that we'll ever fill Eric plus 3 and without, again, that actual sit down recruitment, retention, real plan.
We don't do that. So, I mean, if Eric needs that help in a part-time role, then let's figure out how to get him the help he needs in a part-time role. But temporary clerk, just where we don't have somebody right now, and the person we have is leaving next week.
If I can, is it all right if I reference the audit?
Yeah,
That's part of discussion.
So, auditor prepared financial statement, so recommendation, while it may not be cost effective to do so, we recommend the government consider hiring a qualified person to evaluate the auditor prepared financial statement. So, I mean, an individual with qualifications like you're talking about, grant assistance, I'll call it technical, maybe specialty items. I mean, maybe even this, we did actually find an accountant that ended up moving to Colorado because she had health issues, but she was semi-retired and was interested in assisting with just evaluating audit stuff. So, but I mean, yeah, this is another need, I guess. I'm just bringing up that would just be a, just a one-time thing. But yeah, I guess we could put it on the docket for searching out and finding someone, just like they're, whoever you just said was offering clerk, assistant clerk positions that we could reach out for if we need assistance in a temporary fashion. So. Yes, ultimately, do we need to create that position once we're,
What I'm hearing from Eric is we need to create that position. Whether we take that money from his third out and about guy and reallocate it towards.
Ultimately, I'd love 3 guys, but it's really hard to fill 3 guys. Don't take this wrong way, but it's not an easy job. Like, there's a lot of stuff, but it's just, if I can't find that guy, I've been searching since I got, if I can't find that guy, I don't know why we can't part-time it right now. Budgeted for a full-time person. I'm planning on a part-time guy. Just my thoughts.
So that would be the job description that would go in the paper since Maria's turned in 2 weeks.
Well, then
A resignation for October 1st.
I didn't know that happened. That's new to me. I gotta tell you, that's because of this.
So nobody told the department head that she gets paid for what she's leaving?
It was brought up one of the 3 nights that we've been here this week. It was in the meeting that we were at, so. I apologize.
I don't know, it's news to me. It is what it is. What are you gonna do?
So you honestly didn't know?
No. This is it.
This is the first, okay. I do apologize, because this is,
I work here every day. This is the first time hearing about it.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I apologize for that.
I
That shouldn't happen.
No, that's totally wrong.
Yeah.
That's miscommunication. That is a huge problem that we're having right now.
All of us.
It's big. It's big. It's getting worse too.
Yeah.
It's getting a lot worse. I had no idea until just now. And at that point, whatever, I'll take care of it.
You're looking at us though, like it's our fault that she told us directly. She didn't tell us directly. I think she told her.
told me on Saturday.
Okay.
But.
So is there something?
Hold on. You do need to know that the hostility going around here is why this is happening. The hostility that is filling town hall right now, and the employees that actually are here day to day doing this, the headhunting going on, the budget stuff, it's getting rough.
It's budget though. I understand what
But
you're
it shouldn't
saying.
be this hard.
Agreed. Agreed. There should be way better
And these
communication.
last minute, where now I'm wasting a whole day that I had other stuff planned.
That's not our fault. We would have liked to have started looking at this about 3 months ago.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. But it's not all on us. Sorry, I'm probably not supposed to interact, but
That's not my. I'm just telling you, this is not. I don't think. At this point, I just work here. That's where I'm at. I hate to say it. That's the worst part. I don't know. Maybe I'm being dramatic.
Well, it's local government review this year, and everybody should be creating a wish list of items.
I just
They
like
want
to see something move forward. That's it.
us too.
One thing.
Us too.
One thing. I haven't seen any forward progress in a year and a half sitting right here in all these meetings.
I don't
Now, if
disagree.
I have to reduce my budget to jack crap to make this happen, that's what I did. But I only did this to appease these people here. That's the only reason I have reduced this budget that I did today, which I think is crap. I don't understand why I have to come and ask money now to fix something. I don't think it's right. Now, move forward or don't. So you have two budgets. Pick one.
So you're saying you would condone approving a budget that was $1 million between in and out?
Water and sewer has the money, right? Did I over budget?
You did over budget. You didn't
Yes.
spend over budget, but you did over budget.
And bidding.
And bidding.
And they didn't suggest taking from your budget.
They actually did.
Actually,
No,
we
so they did
didn't.
not. There were other options on the table.
Our
And Mayor
public
Watts.
comment is at the beginning of the meeting.
And
No,
I-
please.
Public
Please
comments
do
at
too.
the
Eric.
beginning of the
And
meeting.
that's you too.
Eric,
You're an employee, you too.
so just as a point out, last year we stalled a budget all the way into November. We made no changes from the original budget to the one that we adopted. And in that, we had to make budget resolutions. Those were 3 that I recall, one of them being for the library for a repair that was desperately needed, one for Eric's office, which also probably can't put staff in a moldy building, and the last one for the grader, in which we had anticipated that need, but the availability of it came when we put capital improvement into the budget last year. For the first time ever was the town actually planning on replacing public works equipment. That was the other budget amendment. I'm not saying that it's a perfect budget. I am saying that at the end of the day, the total cash was what, 528, 544. I feel that we have exceptionally blessed to have the staff that we have, that they are as financially conscious as they are. Last year when we budgeted and our GSI mapping, if you look at that number, it was over $10,000. Eric found a different suite for us that is at what, 3,000? It's a reduced cost. Same with the jetter. We priced out an original budget. We had quotes ready to go for 80,000. We found a comparable unit for 25,000 that we're waiting to purchase this year. This is not a staff that is exorbitant in their expenditures. They really all express that it is not their money, it is taxpayer money. So with that being said, I don't have that in front of me. Last year's total budgeted cash was higher than it was this year. I felt like we tried to accomplish some long-term planning in this budget that is in desperate need with the growth policy. Also with at least starting the conversation of a resort tax. So that's my take on it. There's always the possibility of a budget amendment. We didn't have a horrible lot of them, and it didn't seem to me like there was a lot of expenditures that were willy-nilly. You know what I mean? They're not like, oh, there's 100,000 in my vehicle. I'm gonna go buy a brand new 1-ton truck. Well, I don't even know that 100,000 would buy 1 ton, but they're not pushing for brand new, most expensive. They know that it's got to stretch over decades sometimes. I think sometimes we create problems by doing this where, oh, you didn't use all your budget last year, so we can cut from that budget this year. You see it in the federal level, that so they're like, well, we'll get rid of surplus or say that it's not good so that they don't cut my budget next year. I just don't want to get to the point where that's how we're setting the tone. Does that make sense? Have you seen that before where they're like, but we're not buying gold wrenches or really expensive toilet seats or anything like that.
I carry around my tools in my work truck from home. And now I nearly have to come. With this budget I give you today, I literally have to come. We have to have a meeting when there's a water issue. It's upsetting, but if that's what it takes to freaking move forward, then do it. But do something. give y'all on.
I understand.
That, you know, what's the worst part about it at all? Like, feel it? That's the worst part. That's the worst part. Feel it all right here? That's the worst part. That's. Well, I feel like the last 3 months has been nothing but tear down and we'll get rid of this guy, we'll get rid of this guy, we'll knock this, we'll knock this. That's what I've seen the last 3 months, 4 months. It makes me I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, I guess one of my big questions I brought up last night was, you know, I've been here since Kelly was here, and it's just like, Kelly was always like, these are what the numbers are, and this is just how it is. These are not changeable. I guess in the name of, yeah, not being 1,073,000 over budget, or that's how it appears, you know, whether we spend it or not. And I think, yeah, that's one item, in having involvement from, the council in on this stuff, so we can know when stuff's going on, gets kind of brought to the table. I like to know all the stuff that's happening in
Water
town.
and sewer's always budgeted that way because your auditors told him to budget that way. He taught me to budget this way. That's why we do it.
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I know it's just
The
for,
money is in water and sewer, you put it in the budget because you never know what's gonna happen.
absolutely, with an antiquated system.
Look at downtown.
Yeah,
Like, if you wanna have a meeting before every fix happens, that's fine. But I'm the type of person that's gonna get fixed now. So you're gonna need to meet me here at 3 in the morning to do a meeting. You have to be available for it. I'm kind of sad about this, and I hate to say it, but I kind of jumped onto my budget thing, but this makes me sad. And then there's this. It's an enterprise fund. It's not a general fund.
How would you reduce it by $1 million? So it was,
So water and sewer over budgeted $1 million.
over the whole budget for town.
The whole budget.
So water and sewer, the one who's cutting
I didn't,
everything, over budgeted $1 million.
No, we never said you did,
So why am I the one making cuts today?
because that was the mayor's final suggestion last night.
I said
We
we could take it
proposed
from
there were-
multiple sections. I said I would not take it from the one department that is an 11% less from general fund than last year with a 3% increase in costs. I also have to say that I have a little bit of phobia of the library after last year. There was not money moved from the library to PD last year, as multiple public comment said. There was capital improvement and actual repair and maintenance planned. And this year, there's multiple safety concerns in that building. Still need a capital improvement plan. We cut out the paving for out here. Maybe we need to look at sometime a capital improvement for this building, or we'll just pretend it will never need a roof or anything.
Lisa Roberts? Did you
Oh,
have-
nothing, I understand, Eric's point. My point, my point is that, I'll reiterate it again, it's not so much about water sewer point. Historically, he is correct that water and sewer has been allotted a bigger budget due to the emergency nature and high expenditures to water and sewer and the fixes. In the past 2 years, the auditors did find that there was overspending and bidding issues within that department as well. However, the biggest thing here is still within the general fund of having budgeted cash reserves of $318,000. You're still putting money towards you're committing yourselves to operating expenses with a savings account. You're on a fixed income. Unless we're going to start doing bake sales and car washes out front, there's no side hustle for the town government. You can't budget yourself and just say, oh, we won't spend all the money.
What if you do?
You're allowed to. You're allowed to. And the commission would be condoning that under this budget.
Eric, I might be wrong, and what occurred last night?
We didn't cut
was-
that.
We suggested that we use the agenda, what you guys had done last year, and expend upon it by 5 to 10% in every department, and that was apparently just outlandish.
I actually ran all of that. I was at budget until 3 a.m. Eric has my initial document of that suggestion. And when you do that suggestion, there is 10% increase on zero is still zero. You have outliers. So if you are actually going to mathematically make sense, I ran it as a 4-year average, took all 4-year average with the zeros in there, except for the ones that we knew were new additions, like $300 cell phone. We know that if we're paying each guy 25, it's not a negotiable item. The office furniture has been planned since last year. If he has an office, I mean, I guess we can bake sale it into, or yard sale it. But that's what I did, was took the 4-year average, not last year's, because outliers have to be accounted for, especially in a department where the outliers are exceptionally expensive. Like if nothing happens for 3 years and the numbers are 1,000, and then you have 94,000 and then you have zero, you're like, you don't go off of the zero from last year. You look at, that's why we have multiple years. So that's the numbers that I ran, was the 10% over a 4-year average. Because you wanted to see closer to actuals in it. That's the comment that I heard, is we wanted to see closer to actuals in water and sewer. I was not the first person to say all of the budget should come from water and sewer. It was an area in which we noticed there was a large difference in actuals versus. There's reasons for that. But again, that's how I ran my numbers last night. It was over a 4-year average. So that you could account for the year that something broke. Because I feel like there's going to be another year where something's going to break.
Maybe I'm coming in a little defensive, but I agree to reduce water and sewer budget, which water and sewer is an enterprise fund. That's water and sewer's money. I had to reduce that by $300,000. I don't know. We're talking bare minimum. We're having more meetings.
Let's go with 606, get that resolved, and then you can move on to the next action item. Because there's a motion and a second on the floor for 606 to be adopted with the temporary clerk removed and a police officer up to 23.
Is the temporary,
Well, I mean, we don't have anybody in that role, so, and it's not a position that we have a job description for, a budgeted line item for, and if Eric wants to pull it out of his third out and about guy, that makes sense to me. But just having temporary clerk at $20 an hour and having no limit or no line item for it makes me nervous. I'm not saying we don't need that position. I mean, we very well darn well could. But let's create that position or rework Eric's 3 guys. So one of them is, he's not going to fill the third one, he said. He'd like to, but probably won't. Probably won't, but yeah. So reallocate that money to a temporary clerk if you could find the right person. But that's just not a warm body from what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I mean, we have one. Yeah. Now we have. It is what it is. It's just. Let's go.
Well, if you create the position, then it's no longer probably classified temporary.
like renaming an assistant clerk or something like that, the job description.
Administrative assistant to public works director.
With a job description and a.
We kind of had a plan, for that.
We kind of had it, but
Well, and Eric, maybe
Yeah.
you apply.
You think she wants to?
I can answer that.
It just seems like a whole bunch of.
Right. It's not helping our resolution 606. I'm sorry.
Okay. But we can make this. Okay. Third guy up. I wasn't aware she was.
that's why I said, because she was leaving.
I'm gonna call the question.
Great.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
all right, motion passes with the resolution 606-2024 with amendments. All right, on to resolution 607. Resolution of the Town of Ennis Commission adopting and establishing the mills to be levied and the budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025. Is there a motion?
So just to be clear, it's just on the mill levy for.
No, and the
No,
budget.
And the budget.
And the budget, sorry. All right. I wanted to make sure. I didn't know if it was one than the other. Or-
Is there a second?
Is there a motion?
Is there, did someone,
Oh,
There has to be a motion.
oh.
we should probably have a motion.
I move to approve resolution 607-2020.
I'll second it for discussion. All right, guys, so what do you want to do here?
Still a pretty big deficit.
Say that again.
I calculated 682,506.
As a,
Deficit. The delta,
yeah,
the wasn't
Still.
1.7,
So that's not in the current.
No, it was after.
Okay. So, when I got the sheet at the same time you did, after your discussion last night, if you look to page, where is it? Oh, it's in my pulled over here. I'll make it easier. There was still the, 5,000 and 5,000 out of 5310 and 5210 for the parking lot. So the one that is sitting in front of you has those removed as well. It's $10,000 less, but that's what it is.
But the long sheets were corrected.
We're corrected.
The what sheets?
The long sheets.
Okay.
So that's the correction that was made in the initial.
So how is it that some of the actuals were changed with this updated? Some of the actuals the actual numbers. Like under admin, the buildings.
No, the actual is what they're saying.
No, that's last year's total shouldn't change at all, right?
I don't think it was going to change whatever presented. So that would be in the preliminary budget numbers.
Where are you seeing a change?
So under 920 buildings, it's now 8,336. It was previously $10,002, $2.
What page you on?
The first page.
One.
Yeah.
Page one of the expenditures, yeah.
I don't have last night's. I have two different sheets from today.
It's still online.
So my
You're
two,
seeing the actuals from like 23, 24 instead of 10.
Yeah, so expenditure number 3. It was for $10,000, 10,002 under buildings, 920.
Okay.
And then it was 21,950, 11,948. But now on today's paper, where 10,002 was, it's 8,336. And that's in a couple different places.
I can't answer that. I can't change those numbers in this software.
You wouldn't think you should be able to.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
Not in budget crowd.
I don't know how it changed though. But that there's 3 different places with that, and then there's another instance under sidewalks. Sidewalks was changed too.
Under actuals.
Yes,
Wow.
page 4. So the first number's right. What am I looking at? It's 36 and then 49.37. And then page 25 and 27 under building, admin buildings again, sewer admin and water admin.
when was the last one generated that you were comparing it to?
It'll be
Yes.
I don't know, it's on the drive.
From what?
the one we were using last night.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what we have in front of us is what what was ran today, right?
Right up in upper left-hand corner, it says 9524.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the expenditure on the drive, 3 expenditure budget, I don't know how to just find the date on it or anything,
It's at
but-
the top page.
very top page.
30 in the corner.
8/26/24.
And the report IDs are the same, correct?
B240.
Yeah.
So what's in the drive differs from what we have in front of us today.
8:30, 8:30 and 8:26 are the same. Yeah, but this 8:30 is what we were using last night, the night before.
Yes. I will say, however, I'm not seeing the sidewalk on this.
On the 8:26.
Those seem to be the same. 1,337. Oh no, well, there's like a missing spot. 36. Right there, 36. And then, yeah, no, that's accurate. So on the first sidewalks, repair and maintenance is 1336, but on here it is 1337, and then the maintenance service is 3600, whereas on here it's blank. For a total of 4937. Does that make sense? Are you seeing that?
So we have those in the drive. That's a Black Mountain question.
The actual should be locked, right? I mean,
Right.
Should be.
that's what we paid out last, that's real number. Yeah.
You can't manually enter the actuals.
Yes. So right here on this one is 3600 for a total of the next one of 4937.
Which would be correct.
This is 36, which makes this total 4937.
The sidewalks one would be correct. That portion, the one that we're looking at right now, because I know we approved that claim check to
Yeah.
Croy Construction.
We didn't pay 3600
When did we do that?
in maintenance.
Was that was July, so that's not.
Oh, so I have to cancel the one in June.
As it was written. Resubmitted. So that's the sidewalk error. But I don't know why it would be different between 8:30 and now. I don't remember when the check was canceled and then reissued. It was the name was wrong. That's the sidewalk one.
Also, a very small difference between the one that Ginger posted to the folder tonight. It's dated today, but it was run, I guess, at 12:54 this afternoon.
Yes.
This handout one was run at 3:30 and 3:29. If you look at the bottom line numbers on expenditures,
It is.
this one is $10,000 less.
Right. Nikki I was just explaining that she had found the other, it was $5,000 in water,
And-
5,000 in sewer.
To contribute to the
That
asphalt
we had
project.
missed for the sidewalks out front, so that amount was taken off. And that was later in the day.
It's really hard to want to do 10% of actuals. I don't trust the actual right now.
Yeah, no, you can't trust the actuals.
5,000 in water and sewer, 20 sidewalks. It's not sidewalks.
The pavement project.
Oh, yeah. Not sidewalks, parking lot. So that's the 10,000.
I will also say I'm still leery about approving this budget considering we still haven't gone over the audit findings.
Can we go over those right now?
It has some notice, doesn't it?
It's part of this approval process. Okay. So it's just discussion. 3 pages.
Without audit findings, should we even be approving the budget until we discuss that? I know that was asked at a meeting that I wasn't here for. Mayor Haas?
It would matter. Like, it would be a good legal question, but
Well, will legal counsel be available next Thursday?
it is as we want them. But again, if you look at that line item, it's doubled, so I'm just trying to be conscientious of 125 an hour versus 250 an hour.
I think when it comes to a decision this big, I think it would be worth splurging.
I don't know about everybody here. I'd rather have my I's and my T's dotted and crossed.
And if we really want to go to say that, never done it before. I mean,
That's just my opinion. I don't. I'm not trying to postpone this. I want to make sure that we're doing it.
There's a motion on the table.
Sorry.
I believe I think you used the word continuance last night. Is that a thing? What is that?
Well, which are for motion and second.
Thought we were in discussion of that, aren't we?
Yeah,
But if you.
We have to call the
do a
question.
motion,
You have to finish that out and then you can do a
A motion that this meeting will be continued. That way, you don't have to advertise for 2 weeks.
Okay.
good thinking.
Department of Financials
Yeah.
advice. So there's a motion and a second on the table.
Call the question.
Hold on, I just want to be clear before we vote.
Right, because if you call the question and we vote no, then we
Yeah.
don't approve the budget.
Right.
But if we approve the budget, then we approve the budget and there's no need for a continuation.
Okay. All right, I'm clear now.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go.
All right, I'm clear now.
Yeah.
Am I up?
Are you ready now?
I'm ready.
You're clarified?
I'm clarified, no.
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 All right. Would there like to be a motion of continuation?
Do we have to have a time frame on that? How does that work?
A motion of continuation.
A motion to continue at a later date, please.
It doesn't have to be a specific over date?
Okay.
Okay. So moved. So moved. Yeah.
That was you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All right. Mrs. Hankins.
Aye.
Aye.
So we will not, so we will not be in trouble for not signing off on the budget as we look for a continuance?
Still missed the deadline.
Yeah, we missed the
but-
deadline.
Is there a time frame?
Was there a deadline? Was the deadline? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
So
so
we'll-
work session again. And then set the, you don't want to set the date for when you're doing it and not do a work session. You know what I'm saying?
Will this be on the meeting on the 12th,
Yeah.
the audit findings?
Yes.
And then we'll set the budget vote out for after that.
It's next night, that night, whatever. But I would still recommend like a work session to figure out where you want your
numbers to go.
Yeah.
All right, so if we're gonna do it on the 12th, it means we have to do it before then for a work session, which means,
I'm available this weekend. Only through Saturday. Eric's gone and I'm gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
So next Friday,
Next Friday?
you're not. Okay. You know, I'm fine any day the next week or so. Like 10th through 13th, I'm out of town. No, not the 10th through 13th.
16th?
Yeah.
I could do next. I could do next week. I'm not doing this weekend. I mean, I don't think I can do this weekend. Right.
But the mayor's going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Is that what you said?
Track.
so nobody was on board for Friday?
As in tomorrow, Friday?
No.
Okay, absolutely.
No.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
I mean, next Friday?
next
I
Friday.
could do, but Ginger's gone, right? Isn't that what you said?
So the following week?
I don't. You guys can pull off the daytime one, so, but I've got plans this week.
No, good for you.
No to a daytime one? Anybody?
On Friday,
What's the date next
Friday
Friday?
the
the
what?
13th.
Oh, you.
Friday the
Oh,
13th.
that might be fun.
I don't have my phone with me, so
I could do
I'm
daytime.
trying to remember my schedule.
Want to look at mine, see if that helps?
It does,
What time were you thinking on Friday for Corey?
Like an afternoon?
Yeah, because you got all deliveries and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
I believe next Friday during the day can work for me.
If I'm done with deliveries, I'll be here.
1 p.m. work for you?
That's what I was wondering.
I can't, I might be late. I'll be late.
When do you,
Usually
Get
like
done.
3. 233.
Whatever the hell you can deliberate.
Well, and I could see if my kid could help. Yeah. Do you want to do? Can we do like 1:30, just in case my truck's late?
I mean,
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Can we plan Friday at 1:30?
Not tomorrow, Friday.
No,
but a week.
Friday the
Friday the
13th
13th.
Yeah.
at 1:30. 1:30. For the audit findings
Yes.
for the 12th. So for what? For the budget?
Yeah.
Okay. Move to adjourn.
Yes. Second.
Move to adjourn. We were done, right?
Right, just a second.
I
All right.
Aye.